All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking one of the absolute most fascinating, game-changing concepts ever explored in psychology and personal development. We're diving deep into Dr. Joseph Murphy's landmark work on the human mind. And really, we're going to zero in on one incredibly powerful idea. The fact that your habitual thinking, the stuff you picture in your head every single day, literally molds, fashions, and creates your entire destiny. I mean, think about it. Why is it that one person is just joyous, prosperous, and perfectly healthy, while another is anxious, miserable, and constantly hitting roadblocks? Is it just dumb luck? Better circumstances? Well, according to the extensive research we're looking at today, the answer actually lies entirely in how we use the hidden depths of our own minds. Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. First, we'll meet your two minds. Then, we'll break down the law of belief and uncover the power of suggestion. After that, we'll see how this connects to healing your mind and body, and we'll wrap up with some highly actionable practical subconscious techniques you can actually use tonight. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Meet Your Two Minds. Now, just to be crystal clear, you only have one mind, but it definitely possesses two totally distinct functions. Getting a grip on this dividing line is literally the master key to everything we're talking about today. So think of your conscious mind as the captain navigating a ship. The captain stands up on the bridge giving objective, rational orders, right? Well, your subconscious mind is the crew down in the engine room. They have absolutely no idea where the ship is going, they just blindly execute the captain's orders without question. Or another way to look at it, your conscious mind is a gardener planting seeds, and your subconscious is the rich soil. The soil doesn't care if you plant a beautiful rose or a poisonous weed, it's just going to dutifully grow whatever seed you give it. And here's a crucial number you need to keep in mind, 24, as in 24 hours a day. Your subconscious never sleeps. It's constantly building your body and taking everything your conscious mind accepts as literal truth. Our source material actually shares this wild story about a university student who saw this super expensive traveling bag in a window on Christmas Eve. She was right about to say, "Ugh, I can't afford that," but she stopped herself. Instead, she consciously decreed, "That bag is mine. I accept it mentally." And because she firmly planted that seed, without any doubt, her subconscious got straight to work. Later that exact same day, her fiancé gifted her that exact bag. Her subconscious orchestrated the whole thing simply because it took her conscious order as a hard fact. Moving right along to Section 2, the law of belief. So how exactly does the subconscious decide which seeds to grow? Well, the fundamental rule is incredibly simple. The law of life is the law of belief. And what actually is a belief when you get right down to it? It's simply a thought in your mind. That's it. All of your experiences, conditions, and circumstances, they're just the automatic reactions of your subconscious to your everyday habitual thoughts. Basically, as a person thinks, feels, and believes, so goes the condition of their mind, body, and circumstances. Now, here's the kicker. The subconscious mind doesn't respond to the actual object of your belief. It responds to the belief itself. The text shares a staggering historical example of this. There was a man suffering from severe tuberculosis, and his son desperately wanted to help him. So the son picks up a random piece of ordinary wood from the sidewalk, takes it to a jeweler, has it set into a ring, and then tells his dad he bought a genuine relic from the True Cross from some monk in Europe for $500. The father was so moved, and his faith was fired up to such an intense degree that he placed the ring on his chest, fell asleep, and woke up completely healed. Clinical tests even proved it. It wasn't the fake piece of sidewalk wood that healed him. No way. It was his absolute mental acceptance. His blind faith completely triggered his subconscious healing power. Which brings us to Section 3, the power of suggestion. If belief is what programs the subconscious, we really need to understand how those beliefs get in there in the first place. Remember, your conscious mind is the watchman at the gate, and its job is to protect you from false impressions. You can actively program your mind using something called autosuggestion. This basically means suggesting something very definite and specific to yourself. The text has a great anecdote about a 75-year-old woman who just kept telling herself she was losing her memory. And guess what? Her subconscious took her at her word and her memory declined. But she actually reversed it using autosuggestion. Several times a day, she'd sit down, relax, and explicitly tell herself, "My memory from today on is improving in every department. I shall retain impressions automatically and with ease." Within 3 weeks, her memory was totally back to normal. She used her conscious watchman to plant a much better seed. On the flip side of that, we have heterosuggestion, which are suggestions coming from other people. Now, pay close attention here because this is crucial. External suggestions have absolutely zero power over you unless you mentally accept them. The source recounts this pretty tragic story of a man who visited a crystal gazer in India. The fortune teller predicts the man has a bad heart and will die at the next new moon. The man was absolutely terrified, accepted this prediction completely, got his will ready, and died exactly when predicted. But here's the thing, the fortune teller didn't kill him. His own conscious acceptance of that fear planted a fatal seed in his subconscious. He literally gave the suggestion its power. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how we need to handle fear and negative suggestions. This quote is from the legendary operatic tenor Enrico Caruso. Once, right before a huge performance, he was struck by terrifying stage fright. His throat tightened up, sweat is pouring down his face. His conscious fears, what he referred to as the little me, were trying to take over the whole show. But Caruso understood how his mind worked. He literally shouted at his fear. The little me wants to strangle the big me. Get out, the big me is going to sing. He commanded his subconscious, the big me, with absolute authority. And it responded. It released a flood of vital forces that allowed him to walk out there and give a majestic performance. All right, moving to Section 4, Healing Mind and Body. So how exactly does all this mental framing apply to our physical bodies? Well, the inherent tendency of your subconscious is always lifeward. I mean, your subconscious mind literally created your body from a single cell. It already knows the perfect pattern of every single organ, tissue, and bone you have. Think about it for a second. When you cut your face shaving, you don't have to consciously direct your white blood cells or tell your skin to form a scab, right? Your subconscious just does it automatically. It wants to heal you. Let's quickly summarize these core healing principles from the text. Disease is very often a shadow of a distressed mind, basically a manifestation of persistent, negative, fearful thinking. And since the subconscious controls all your vital processes, true healing really requires a change of belief at the root level. For example, there's a university professor mentioned in the text who suffered from recurring ulcers. He realized his mind was just constantly wandering through his problems, generating all this frustration. So by practicing mental healing methods, like redirecting his emotional life, forcing himself to relax, and intentionally feeding his subconscious vivid imagery of perfect health, he completely cured his ulcers. He basically affirmed the good to crowd out the negative. Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Practical Subconscious Techniques. Okay, so we know the subconscious runs the ship and dictates our physical reality. The big question is, how do we actually program it? Let's get into the actionable stuff. The first technique is the mental movie method. You relax completely, vividly imagine your end result, and this is the absolutely crucial part. You have to actually feel the reality of it being an accomplished fact. The author used this exact method when he wanted a permanent location for his lectures. While hanging out in a hotel room, he relaxed on a couch, immobilized his attention, and vividly imagined himself speaking to a massive audience in a very specific area. He really played the role, feeling the deep satisfaction of it. And sure enough, days later, he got a telegram offering him exactly the opportunity he had pictured. A mental picture backed by genuine feeling acts as an exact blueprint for your subconscious. Next up is the sleep technique, which was originally developed by a psychotherapist named Charles Bodwin. When you're in a drowsy, sleepy state, your conscious mind's resistance drops to its absolute lowest. That is the perfect window to plant a seed. You just condense your desire into a really short phrase and repeat it over and over like a lullaby as you drift off. There's a story of a woman in Los Angeles who used this when she was trapped in this incredibly bitter, seemingly endless family lawsuit over a will. Every single night, she'd get into a sleepy state and quietly, with feeling, repeat just 6 words, "It is finished in divine order." After 10 nights of falling asleep to this deep feeling of peace, her attorney called. The opposing parties suddenly just wanted to settle everything harmoniously. Crazy, right? And finally, we have the thank you technique. This is all about leveraging the cosmic law of action and reaction by living in the end state of profound gratitude before the physical result even shows up. A father who was completely broke, unemployed, and had 3 kids to feed used this one. Every night and morning, he relaxed and simply repeated, "Thank you, Father, for my wealth," directly addressing the infinite intelligence inside him.
He maintained this intense feeling of gratitude, immediately shutting down fear whenever it popped up. Within 3 weeks, he randomly runs into a former employer he hadn't seen in 20 years. The guy offered him a highly lucrative job and even an immediate cash advance. Gratitude completely reconditioned his mind to the idea of wealth, and his reality just fell right into line.
So, having walked through all the mechanics, the proof, and the actual techniques, the real question for you is, how are you going to direct your ship today? Remember, that crew down in the engine room is waiting for your orders right now. They don't judge, they don't argue with you, they just execute. So, are you feeding them fears, doubts, and the negative suggestions of everybody else? Or are you feeding them vivid mental movies of health, harmony, and success? Because here is the ultimate takeaway from Dr. Murphy's incredible work. You are the master of your fate. That master secret of the ages, it isn't hidden out there somewhere in the world. It is lodged right there in the depths of your own mind. You have the total capacity to choose life, to choose love, and to choose health. But it begs the ultimate question. If your mind has the unquestionable power to build your reality exactly as you command it, what are you going to command it to build next? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I'll catch you on the next one.